Well, hello and welcome back. So, here we go again. We're on our lapbook, the lovely grungy mouldy looking one. And last week we did these panels with the corrugated card, the glue, string and the middle of the napkin. Now, as you can hear, this is rock solid almost now. I mean, you can bend it, but it's, a little bit tough. As you can see, I've finished off this one. So I did it in two different blues because this is basically a blue and gold journal, isn't it? I did it in the blues and the browns, a little bit of orange and the cheesecloth underneath, and then I put the bird on. So let's do today's and I'll show you how I did that. And I've moved you out a little bit, so I'm hoping you got a better view. So obviously this one I just put the coloured cheesecloth. I just literally dabbed the cheesecloth into two different blues, the brown, the espresso brown and the spiced marmalade orange, and I got that kind of colour. And then I just sort of bunched it up and stuck that on, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But obviously we don't want both sides to be exactly the same. So on this side, I thought we would use an envelope flap. So I've already lined the envelope with just a little bit of book page. It's got a nice date age there to make the flap a little bit more interesting. Okay, so before we do that, let's work on this. So we're not going to get as messy as we got last week, but we will be getting a little bit messy. So I'm going to lay down my plastic to protect my desk from getting any worse than it already is. And I'm sorry if you can hear Boo slurping a gallon of water in the background there. Right, so we're going to snip this off all the way round. You can tear it if you'd rather. It's entirely up to you, but I'm going for the scissors. And you'll see there's some glue and paint overlap there, which is and the string is right on the edge, which is why that's not. You could cut, but it's going to be, hard work. And I don't mind the mismatch shape. It is, after all, a grungy lapbook. Okay, pull them pieces out. I mean, this is untouched. You could use that again if you wanted to. You could save it and use it. And then we've got this at the front. I'm just going to pick off those extra bits. Okay, so this one, I don't want to obviously do the same in the blues and browns. Part of the reasons I did the blues and browns was because of the blue bird that was going in there. But today I have got, no I haven't, that's the wrong envelope. Oh dear, why have I brought the wrong envelope along? Now I've got to try and find what I did with the other envelope, which I was pretty sure that I had on my desk. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Right, sorry. I've been busy fussy cutting mushrooms out of the big mushroom book that I've got. So this one's going to have a mushroom on it rather than a bird. So consequently, let's have a little look. I mean, we want this is the cheesecloth. Do that so we're not marred by other colours. There's the cheesecloth. So we need orangey, bluey mushrooms. I'm just flicking through here. Let's have a little look. We've got these ones as well that are sort of growing off of trees, but there are, I know there are. Well, see, there's a sort of greeny one. Let's get that big one out. It's like a page edge, and you can see I've just been sat in front of the telly. It's a good idea actually. Part of the reason I've been doing this is I've been fussy cutting through all of my books, so that books I've bought specifically to use for things like this, for fussy cutting, I've got them out. I've started fussy cutting out everything that I want from them, and then putting the remaining scraps basically in the bin. It's getting books off of my shelves. It's giving me more space in my already cramped craft area. So, you know, it just feels quite refreshing, to be honest. And it is a job that normally you would do at this stage, and then it delays your project. Whereas if they're already done, you can just flick through like this. Right, so let's have a look. Excuse me. I like this one. And I like this one. I'm wondering if we sort of go for a pair. Although I don't think they look like they're growing together, do they? Because that's much more rustic, that one. Whereas I think this one, we could maybe... Oh, the decisions, honestly. Right, I think I'm going to go for this one because they've both got sort of greenery under them. So I'm probably going to do something like that. So we'll get rid of these ones. Okay. We'll take that to one side and the big book. So I've got spiced marmalade and the ground espresso. And I literally just ran the pads over. So I went with the lightest first. Okay. Like so. And then I put the darker on the top. Mainly because the lighter orange is not going to affect the ground espresso pad, whereas it would if I'd have done it the other way round. So then you see I just went like that. That's what I did with the other one. And then I just put a little squirt of water on it just to mix up the colours a little bit. Okay, and then we can use the napkin that we cut off just to dab into that. And blend that colour in a little bit. Okay. You could use a brush if you wanted to. But obviously you can see the colour that's now on the cloth is just spreading around a bit. And we've got residue going into the gaps. Okay. So that's that. And then the envelope, yeah, that's a bit wet, so let's just do that. On the envelope, which is already coloured, I think I'm just going to run a little bit of orange around the edge just to bring in some more of that corresponding colour. Okay, get rid of this. So I'm going to open out our book, and we're working on this side here. So that's going to stick down there like that. So first things first, we're going to put our cheesecloth on. Now I don't want that fixed end, you know, it would be like the bias binding if it was fabric. I don't want that on it. So I'm going to cut that off all the way up. Like so. Get rid of that. And then I'm going to spread some glue. Just sort of across the centre like that. Okay. And then I'm going to offer the cheesecloth up. And just sort of draw it into the middle, into the glue like that. We want some, you know, unstuck flappy bits. And then our envelope is going to go, I'll pull that back down a bit so that sticks out. Our envelope's going to go there. So we'll glue that, and because we're going to put our topper on, which is quite heavy, I'm going to use a bit of my Yoo-hoo. Just do a couple of little dabby spots along there just to strengthen up that glue. Then that is going to sit as near to the middle as we can get it. I'm going to press that down like so, and then you've got an interest when we open it up. Okay, and now we're going to place this onto our envelope. Sounds like someone's having a crash bang wallop in the background. Someone's got butterfingers. And yet for a change it's not Boo. It's always Boo barking, isn't it? I dare say I could get hubby to do a bark impression, but there you go. He is going for a laugh. So using the Yoo-hoo again because of the cardboard. I'm just running this around here. Okay, make sure you get your edges, because you don't want your edges curling up, especially on the corners. Okay. Now, there's really no right or wrong way for this, just whatever takes your fancy with regard to what will be the top and what will be the bottom. And of course you can still decorate this side if you choose to. I'm not going to fiddle with it today because obviously we want that to stick down. And then we got our mushrooms. So I don't know, what are we doing with these? Are we just going to go for the one? Now he seems to be to the top right. So on top right he seems to favour. So I wonder if we go bottom left with him. Or if we take this one off. I feel like this one's a bit grey, so that's going. We're going to have this one and we're going to have it here. Now obviously if you wanted to, you could put a bit of paper or whatever underneath there as well, but I'm just going to stick with that. And again, because of the bobbly, I'm going to use the Yoo-hoo or the and I'm going to stick that down on there like so. And we're going to go just about there. So that is our two, you know, inner flaps, as it were, done and decorated. And I think they're looking pretty good. What do you reckon? This one will straighten out as it dries, and then you can come back and decorate that. So we have done both sides of this one now, because we've got that covered. We've got our pocket here with our large journaling card, and this one as well. We've done that one, and both of those, and the large journaling card is in there. Our spines are covered. So now we need to work on these flips. Now the first thing I need to do is see about straightening that up, because as you can see, that is anything but straight. So let's work around that way. Let's bring in our ruler and let's try and get this straight. So if I actually line it up on my mat like that, I can then line my ruler up top and bottom. Oops. And that will give me a nice straight flap there. And I want to see how we're going to go about this. Now I feel like, let's think about this for a minute. We're going to have a signature through this hole here on an elastic like a Midori, and that's going to flap over there. We are going to also put something here. So we don't want this to be too deep, because when we fold it in half, we can see from this spine we've actually only got, I think it's about an inch and a half. We've got 1.25 inches to play with. Okay, so we can have something small there, and then we're going to have something big here journal wise. So on this flap we don't want anything too major. Now the argument is because of these and this, we seem to be working into almost a naturey type feel with the grunginess. So you need to decide what it is that you want to do. Do we want to put on an envelope? Do we want to put on a really large pocket? What do you want to do? I think the answer for me is to consider putting on a pocket. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a large piece of paper, and I'm going to consider how I would make a pocket out of that. Okay, so I can't obviously find any appropriate papers, can I? I should have brought paper with me. Oh, that's fairly typical. Okay, well, let's revert as always to book page, because this particular book, this is not what came out of here, I don't think, but it is a lovely, no, I've covered it all up now, I can't tell. It is a lovely big page. Okay, so if we put one piece underneath like this, we can see that it fits beautifully, but it does go over a little bit. Okay, so take your ruler and fold that up so that it is marginally inside the book cover. You see there? It's just inside. If I tuck it right up to there, okay, it's just inside the corner there, okay. If we then take another one and we join it to that point there, we've got a sealed pocket straight away. If I then lift this flap up, and yeah, this is from this book, and we fold this down to about there, okay, and we bring that down. We take another piece, and we fold this in half, like so, and then we fold it in quarters like that, and we take our scissors and we do a triangle cut like that. We've got an envelope pocket. Now this is where you need to decide whether you want to put your envelope closure on the flap, or whether you want to put your actual envelope on to the flap. So then obviously the whole envelope will move. Now if you're going to put the envelope on, then we can open this up and we can stick that on the back there, and there is our envelope. But you can see that we got a gap, okay, whereas when we put it on there like, oh, we've still got a gap. I've folded it too far, haven't I? Let's do it the other way. It's just about getting your measurement right, that's all. Right, so what I should have done was, instead of cutting a triangle, I realise where I've gone wrong now. Get rid of that because that's all screwed up. Fold it in half. So, there's the back of our envelope, there's the front of our envelope, okay, and then our flap, we fold this in half, like so. Fold it in quarters. I took my triangle too far, that was the problem. You only want to take it like that rather than all the way up, because that way, that's how you wouldn't see the opening. Okay, so does that all make sense? Now obviously before we glue it all together, we want to decorate it, because obviously it's going to be hard to decorate it when it's like that. So we'll get our, stand that up there out the way. Take our ruler and give ourselves a very small turn for the inside of the envelope. So out there, okay, like that, okay, and then the same amount on the other side, like so. And that is our inside seam. So it gives us a little bit of gusset to our envelope, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it level at the bottom, like so, and then I'm going to wrap these around like that, okay? That'll be our envelope then, and then I'm going to stick, this is the back obviously, here, and then we're going to stick one of those to the back. We know it's now sticking over the edge, but we can easily trim that. So let's get on with decorating these, and then we can stick it all together. So, oh, I'm sorry, I've hurt my elbow, so stretching like that is a little bit difficult. Okay, so we've got our, where's our 3 pieces? I've lost one. There's our 3 pieces, and I'm just going to set about decorating these up. So this is the inside, so turn it out, although technically we want to decorate all of it. I'm going to go for Distress Oxide as a background. So I'm just going to rub this over like this. Okay, rub and press, press, rub, and this one. Okay, like that. Now, we also want to do this side, because we will see this side like that. Got a lovely mess on here, filthy hands as usual. So I'm going to open this out like so. I'm going to give it a lovely squirt so we get that Distress Oxide working for us again. Okay, obviously it's going to be wet, so I'm going to plug in my heat tool, and I'm going to look at that, I can mess it all up together. I'm going to get that dried, and then I will be back. So stay tuned, talk amongst yourselves. I'll see you in a second. Okay, I'm back. These are relatively dry now, so you can see there's quite a lot of green in that brown. It's amazing. That's the ground espresso. Goodness me, I can't get my words out today. So I want to come back over this with the orange, and I've got 2 stencils. Now obviously you can use whatever stencils you have. If you don't have stencils, you can fold up some book pages, cut out some shapes, and make your own disposable stencils. Alternatively, you could use stamps. I'm going to use stamps on top. So I'm just going to go across with the orange. You're not going to see a lot of it because this is very dark. But I just want to get a little bit more interest operating underneath the envelope flap. Remember, this is going to go the other way, so I'm stenciling upside down on that one. And obviously some areas are going to show more. There's obviously a bit of glue there. Are going to show more than others, and that's perfectly fine. It's all part of the grungy look. Just want little bits of it, yeah. And I'm doing alphabets on the flip. Okay, you can obviously do whatever you want to do, and this will fold obviously there. It's still a little bit damp, which is why it's not. So it's starting to look like this, okay. And then I'm even going to do some of the net wire. Reminds me of chicken wire, yeah. So I'm just going to do a little bit of that on there as well. Turn that over. Yep. Like so. So that's that piece. And now I'm going to work on this. Now, before I go any further on this, I want to put this tongue down, because there's no point decorating that if we're not using it. So get some glue stick on there, bring that over and stick that down like that. Okay, and then on this one I've got this sunburst, and I'm going to actually go that way. Reminds me of 1930s houses, and I'm going to go that way because obviously that's the way our envelope is going to be looked at. A pocket envelope. And then obviously we can put something nice in the centre there. I just think that looks lovely. That's that one. And obviously, I say obviously, we are keeping the honesty of it, because you can see all the wording. You can't necessarily read it anymore, but you can see that it came from a book page, and that's one of the things I like. I like the honesty of it. So that's what I've done. Now, there was a number of people, I won't say complaining because it was a good thing, but there was a number of people disappointed that I'd closed the Facebook group, and when they understood that that was mainly due to scammers, they were very understanding, but sad. They were saying they'd miss it a lot, and you know, they wish it hadn't have happened, blah blah blah. So what I did yesterday was I decided that it wasn't fair that half a dozen nasty people would ruin it for everybody. So I've added a fans membership to my Ko-fi page. Now, because of the way Ko-fi works, I've had to put a charge on it, but because it's about non-scammers rather than about the money, I've made it £1 a month. So, you know, it's not about the money, it's not an expense to you, it's about being able to do it without scamming, because I'm pretty sure that if they've got to pay for it, they won't bother scamming it. So if you are one of those people that commented and is missing the Facebook page, then pop on over to Ko-fi and you will see that you can pick up, as it were, where we left off. So I will be doing updates and challenges like I used to. Okay, so it's no pressure. You don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. It's not a problem at all, because I say I've done it really for you guys, because there were so many people that seemed truly upset that the Facebook page had gone. So okay, we're going to glue this down. So we're going to glue down this side. We're going to glue along the bottom. I'm not gluing it to the page, apart from on the corner there. And we're going to glue up this side like that. And then we're going to lay this down and we're going to line it up. So the very bottom goes on the very bottom. Line it up to the creases that we made as close as you can, although being under the heat gun may have shrunk your paper a little bit. And then glue this wraparound piece, and obviously wrap it around. What have I done? Go on, spot the deliberate error. Spot the deliberate error. I was supposed to glue the hinge into the bottom, wasn't I? So under it, see, that's because I was thinking about the Ko-fi Facebook thing, and I was talking to you guys. So open it back out. If you made the mistake I did, because you didn't wait to see the mistake, you just trusted Claire and soldiered on. Right. We want it there, like that. So glue this piece, hinge, glue your hinge, stick your hinge to what is the front of your envelope pocket, like so. It's the shorter piece. Look, there's the back, the longer piece, and that is the shorter front piece. Okay, then re-glue. Well, you shouldn't have to re-glue because you shouldn't have already glued it, but I'm going to re-glue that piece there and the side piece there. I'm going to bring my book back down and I'm going to flip this over like so, and then re-glue my flap. Oh goodness me, Claire, you are a worry. Don't do as I do, do as I say. There you go. And now we've got it flipping. Okay, but we do need our flap. So what we're going to do with our flap is we're going to glue it to the back. But remember, it's now too long from where we made our folds. So you might want to trim that. So let's trim that. So I'm going to get my ruler and just, that gives me enough to know where I should be, and I can straighten it up with the scissors in a minute. Okay, that one's straighter. It's just that one for some reason. There we go. Okay, so it's because I'm short of space. Keep turning it round. It's the only trouble with these big books. You do have to keep manoeuvring around, especially when you're filming. When you're just working on your own, it's not so bad. Okay, only obviously glue the one side. And you could, if you wanted to, do the puzzle book thing we did and put a fastener on the front and the back. I'm actually not putting a fastener on here at all. I'm going to let the weight of the flap, when I've decorated it, hold it shut. So that's going to go over there like that. And we have got this grungy envelope flip. Okay, I'm just going to reinforce my fold like so. And as you can, and there's a little bit of glue still on there. As you can see, you've now got a gusset envelope pocket. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there because we've been an hour again, or almost, and I will come back next week, but I think next week's probably going to be the last one, because I will show you how I've decorated this one up next week. We'll put something on this flap, and then it's just putting our journals in on the Midori style, but you know how to do that. So I think probably next week will be our last one of these series. We'll have to look for something else. There's our envelope pocket on the hinge. Okay. And there are our two inside covers. As always, I hope you found some joy and inspiration. Thank you so much for joining me. It's very much appreciated. Stay safe. I'll be back soon. Bye-bye for now.